morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It is such a sense of gratitude that I have to be here today. And I would like to take a moment to ask for the spirits of light, our benefactors, to be here to continue to inspire us throughout our journey together. Thank you so much. It is the 10th of July, and we return here today to our book club meeting, and we're studying, of course, the psychological series by spiritual author Joanna de Angelis with this such impactful, powerful message. Today, as every Sunday, we'll discuss Wake Up and Be Happy. We're coming close to the half of the book with chapter 13. So let's go to the next slide. And we're going to just go over the topics. What we're going to study today? Well, it's really a chapter about working toward a better version of ourselves and to have the courage. So we have work, right? What we need to do to work, and the courage to keep working, to carrying on with all those goals that we have for ourselves. So in the next few minutes, we're going to go over the topics that Joanna brought in this chapter: love in action, projects. Projects require planning and more, and the commitment to complete our tasks. So let's go to the next slide. And this is a slide that I like to talk, which is the beginning of the book, the chapter proper, which is an area that she talks about the good work for the good, and she keeps referring that, which is love in action. Before rewinding a little bit, what do we mean by that, right? So she, very first sentence of the chapter, she talks about working toward the good in us, the good in others. And she says that work should be discreet and continuous with well-defined goals. So I'm here really tickled to interpret Joanna's words as it is, in my opinion, all about project management. That's my profession, right? So I understand well, and I agree with her when she says even well-defined goals, right? The best of the best, they are often misunderstood or they receive resistance from those around us, including ourselves. So she comes here to talk about it, and she reminds us that when our goals for this project, right, are focused on doing good, and she specifically says doing good not for personal gains or even your personal agenda, right? This project, and I'm going to call it a project, it's a project of love in action, or in other words, charity. When we commit ourselves to do that, she ascertains to us we are actually recipients of this energy that comes from above. We are re-energized, we are renewed, we receive help, and all of those who are part of this project for good, for doing good, they're all receiving help for those to persevere, to not deviate from its goals, right? So it's very interesting. So on one hand, she says, you know, projects, goals, doing good will be misunderstood. On the other hand, she says, when you are doing a project for the good, love in action, you will, regardless, you will receive blessings from above, from the divine. And it's very important because it's those point counterpoint from Joanna, right? She keeps talking about you need to commit, but you're going to be not so. It's not so easy to stay focused, and you need to persevere. But oh, life comes in the way, and you need to do this. So she keeps saying those things that are so real in life, and as I say, for the best of the best projects, we receive that. So she tells us that, right? We're mere workers. We're mere workers. We're in the middle of a project, and we are doing something that may be absolutely the most sensational, absolutely fantastic project out there, and we find ourselves as those who are committed to doing that. And oops, I get upset. Somebody upset me. Somebody hurt me. I am now cultivating resentment for that person. And all of those things are eroding my desire to be part of that project. You probably thought about it or went through this. I have been many, many times, right? So, even to the best of the best, when we're doing something, our goals are somehow eroded or diluted by the thing that we call humanity, right? We're all imperfect spirits, and it's so much easier for us to just attack the other. So much easier to say, that person, she's doing he or she is doing much better than I would ever expect. It's because there is a something behind it. So we suspect the other, we dilute the either the effort required, or we mistrust that is for the right direction. We do this, and it's important to remember we do that for ourselves and for the others. So she says, right, we are all workers in this project called life, and um right, we will be energized, but we need to understand there will be obstacles, right? And there'll be people and things throwing rocks at us. We will have resilience, but we will find the obstacles to which that resilience is important for us to go through. We will have all those things against us, but we will be helped, and we will, she promises us, we will experience a great sense of happiness in what we're doing. So, important to remember too, let's never forget, right, as Jesus, the model in our lives here, he was insulted. He was systematically persecuted. Yet, what did he do? He persevered on his, and not only he persevered, he fulfilled his mission on earth till the very end. Okay, let's go to the next slide because I wanted to talk a little bit about projects. I told you I'm tickled that this chapter is about projects, right? And I call those are my words, but projects require planning and more, right? And before I go on to that, I just wanted to say, there's a proverb you may have heard: the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So it's interesting because we could interpret this cliche, this proverb, this saying, by many different ways. But one way to interpret is simply by the saying that we may have the intentions to undertake good actions, but we fail to take action. And that's the interpretation of the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? We have the best of the intentions and we fail to act. So I think this is something that came to my mind now, and it's important for us to perhaps think about it. Because Joanna says that we fail to take actions, maybe due to procrastination, laziness, anything, right? Any small obstacle that comes to our day-to-day lives. Regardless, a good intention is meaningless unless it is followed through, right? So Joanna tells us that the projects of edification, that's the title of this chapter, require planning, it requires reflection, love it, require effort, require execution, requires work. And she says that, and I think she's spot on, right? Planning alone will not do it, but planning without taking the time to reflect. And in our world, we're talking about the world of this book series of Joanna de Angelis and Spiritism at large, the world of self-discovery, the project that is us requires reflection, right? So planning, reflection, it requires effort. And all of it is nothing unless we actually execute, we actually work on it. But again, let's pause because I want to ask again, what is a project of edification? What are we talking about? Well, by definition, we talk about, if we go to dictionary, it simply is any effort, any work, any commitment to the moral or intellectual improvement, which pretty much defines who we are, our lives. We are a project of edification in execution, don't you think? I do. Joanna cautions us because it is so frequently found in us that we get enthusiastic about something that we're doing, right? And we become excited, and we have new ideas, new endeavors, and quite frankly, what am I talking about? Oh, I can give various examples from New Year's resolution, right? To, oh, I'm in love and I want to get married and be married for the rest of my life. Or I am pregnant, I'm going to have a child, and it will be, everything would be rosy, amazing. And those are the types of things that came to my mind when I think about all that excitement, this enthusiasm. When you start something new, a new project, right? And remember, she's talking about us. It's a project of edification that could be through us, our lives, or the work that we do for a charity, right? Doing love in action type of project. But she says, right? All that excitement, all the enthusiasm, all that comes with this, everything that is new, until they're no longer new, right? So when that project, again, calling project, when that project requires discipline, but instead we get bored because it is so monotonous. It's the same thing. I want something new. No, it's the same. You need discipline, or that project becomes quite challenging, right? You encounter so many obstacles. It's no longer easy, and we give up. Or when it's so necessary to be faithful to the original commitment, right? To the original goal. And we stray away because there are easier projects out there, so we think. So it is common, very, very common indeed, to live life going from one experience to the other, from one commitment to the next, but always abandoning it before the end goal. As I said before, I gave examples, the years resolution. It could be a marriage, but simply put, it can be a career, right? It can be school, it can be a job, it can be anything, including volunteering work. So what do we want to do instead? What should we do? What must we do instead? And I ask this because I keep thinking, how do we muster courage to keep going when all those things are no longer exciting and new or easy or how I thought it would be, right? When it's so hard to persevere. Oh, when we are criticized, and that happens more often than not, right? When we are criticized, when we feel attacked despite our very best intentions. So, what is the answer? Our faith. Faith in the outcomes will help us to see our tasks through. Our knowledge of the end goal will help us remain discreet and silent about our accomplishments. And this is key, according to Joanna. Our sense of accountability and responsibility will push us to try harder to the very end. So let's go to our last page, our last slide, because I think it's important for us to reflect upon. As I said before, I am a project manager. So, as a project manager, what do? We break down the tasks of any given project into small pieces, as small as possible, right? Usually to a day. And Joanna invites us to this project called Life to stay firm in the completion of those tasks, however menial it may seem to you and me. If we think about it, oh my goodness, we may get dizzy with all the glitz and glamour of someone else's work, right? I was thinking in terms of maybe, oh, I don't know, a Formula One driver. What do I need to do to be the best? Or a fighter pilot. Well, forgive me, but I just watched the Top Gun Maverick movie, and that image comes to my mind, right? Well, all the work and the learning to be there. Or if I want to be the head of research for a company trying to figure out a cure for X, any of those terminal diseases that we have today. And then we shift the reality to ourselves and we see, my goodness, my mission, my task, it looks so trivial, doesn't it? In comparison. And she alerts us we should not compare, we should not even try to size it, but focus instead on the overall outcome, the benefit that we're bringing to the world and to our own path as a mortal soul. And so, with that, I just say, let's make a note, though, that many of us will simply abandon the work. It's as said, it's easy, right? We have our free will. We can abandon life if you think about it. You can abandon your children. You can abandon a marriage. You can abandon a job. You can do anything. We can abandon that commitment of something that we want to do. And she said, be the one that will not do that. Be the one that instead will finish whatever you have committed to do. And so just yesterday, I was talking to a good friend of mine who is leading a spiritist organization here in the US. And she was talking about, and this is not exclusive to spiritist organizations, but after, due to the pandemic, many organizations had to shut down. And now slowly they're coming back to face work. Many nonprofit organizations, volunteer organizations, including Spiritist Center. And and she was just distraught. Where are my workers? They disappeared. After the pandemic, no one is coming back. And I was, as I come through with this discussion today, the memory of that conversation, which was very heartfelt. Where are my workers? And the counterpoint to that is Joanne telling us, let's be the one who's willing to not give up. Sound words, isn't it? In Luke 14, chapter 14, verse 30, Jesus talks about this in his parable, right? He talks about the men that start to build but could not finish the task. So this is not something new. It's not pandemic. It's not a project for project managers. It's not new to spiritist organization, non-profit organization, for profit, and it has spanned a couple millennia at least, the issue of lack of commitment. So I want to close our discussion today with the understanding that our lives, our projects, all of it, all that we receive that come to us, and I'm putting my hands up here, right? We receive some gifts or something, some people that come to us. And those quote unquote projects will require this great sense of commitment, this great sense of responsibility. Jesus and Joanna de Angelis, they both remind us how any endeavor require responsibility, they require honesty, they require consciousness. So with that, we finish our discussion today. And I want to ask all of you to reflect upon those words, what it is to be committed to grow morally and intellectually. And when I say that, it's hard for most of us to understand, right? When we talk about the commitment to grow morally, intellectually, we're talking about all the dimensions of being a human. So grow as an immortal spirit in its spiritual dimension, in its physical dimension, in its emotional, psychological dimension, moral dimension. So all of it that is part of who we are, when we are committed to this growth, and however that project may be, remember, cut down in many different tasks. Today, that task may be, oh, I don't know. Let's pretend something really ad hoc here. That commitment may be today. I need to learn how to speak, I don't know, German. I need to learn a new language. And you keep thinking, Marcia, what are we talking about? You're saying, as a mortal soul, this is a project, your life project, and you're going to grow in this path toward your perfect happiness. Why do I need to learn German? I don't know. But if you break down, it may be a key component of your life project. And this is just an example. It could be many other types of things that we're committed. And we are just wrapping up by saying, let us, all of us, persevere. Let us be committed. Let us carry on the responsibility to whatever we say we're going to do, to plan it, to reflect upon it, to execute it to the best of your ability. And with that, I say I want to thank you, all of you who are here today, and hope to see you next Sunday when we will discuss chapter 14. Behavior is the name of the chapter. Have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead of you. Thank you and goodbye.